Although more betas than this reproduce in times thanks to social order, and therefore the institution of marriage, I nonetheless suspect that the 1:16 ratio is beneficial in illustrating a plausible proportion between the two male types. The universe created two types of men: alphas to lead and impregnate, and betas to follow and serve. Two things. 1. If you're a beta, you'll have your work cut out for you, because alpha males make up only the top 6% of all men. And 2. If you're an alpha, you're probably in the minority even if you have dozens of girls. It is the nature of women to use men as cover resources, and in the context of her interaction with alpha males during reproduction, this is often due in large part to their physical vulnerabilities. So TRP can serve both groups by providing the knowledge necessary for betas to mimic and possibly become alphas. While the word manipulation isn't ideal for describing this mechanism because it implies malevolence or deliberate deception, it does serve a useful purpose in that it reminds us of how sly women can be by nature in terms of the value they claim to offer versus the value they actually provide in an interaction pattern that was not carefully calibrated by a more manipulative, intelligent, and self-interested male. With girls, nature has had to incite what is called a dramatic sense, a striking effect, for she endows them for a couple of years with a richness of beauty and fullness of charm, at the expense of the remainder of their lives, so that they will during these years ensnare the fantasy of a person to such a degree and make him rush into taking the honorable care of them in some quiet form for lifetime sex. To paraphrase a second and superior German philosopher, the true man wants two things: danger and play. For this reason, he wants a lady because the most dangerous playthings recur in the form of women. Much chatter in the manosphere about the unpleasant nature of girls is only accurate when describing the interaction patterns of girls with men who haven't learned female nature, and how to consciously manipulate it to tip the balance of power in his favor. Women's psychological firmware often insists on being attracted to males who are already getting bedded, even if they don't consciously realize this is true. This is a very primitive form of preselection, as her mind conducts this subconscious logical syllogism. I can't say for sure whether or not he's reproductively viable, but the fact that he seems to be attracting women despite the fact that he's not desperate and barely making any effort to do so suggests that other women have made the same conclusion. There are two distinct but complementary ways to achieve this sex-satisfied state. One is to actually induce it by having sex with women regularly, going as low on the same column as is required to achieve the desired effect. There seem to be two groups in TRP. One advocated treating women as if they were born to serve men, and the other advocated treating women as if they were born to serve men. For our purposes, the latter is a subset of sex satiety, while the former is a distinct form of narcissism. Here we have overconfidence in one's own abilities and a disregard for everyone but one's own self-interest. Developing a selective, strategically deployable form of narcissism with respect to the other sex is difficult, and every man will incorporate this quality into his existing social personality in his own unique way. However, one trick I found useful is to use an affirmation or article of religion to undo and rewrite one's self-defeating beliefs about the other sex. According to one anonymous manosphere commenter, you should behave as if you are the star of the most popular reality show of all time, with cameras following you around and millions of viewers watching because you are so damn interesting. In other words, brainwash yourself into believing that you are a god, and you will come to realize that this is the truth. Mirrors pre-selection in the preliminary stages of selection. A woman's narcissism and self-delusion lead her to rely on the opinions of other women when deciding whether or not she finds you sexually attractive. A woman relies on your assessment of her own self-worth to determine if she should consider you sexually viable. While betas exist to serve women, women exist to serve alphas. Sometimes this dynamic is subtle, and other times women will explicitly enjoy being or feeling SP. I assume it goes without saying that a lady isn't consciously considering you as a reproductive mate when she's discovering whether she wants to sleep with you. These are all subconscious psychological phenomena of which she herself has no direct awareness. As a result, a man is more likely to try to control a woman whose behavior he finds unpleasant through verbal confrontation than he is to simply gravitate away from negativity and undesired behavior and toward other women from whom he knows he can procure a preferable relationship. This is because ignoring a woman conveys a greater readiness to withdraw from her permanently, demonstrating the value and instilling insecurity in her. If a woman you're talking to asks a question or makes a statement you don't want to hear, just ignore it. I don't mean to suggest that you should fold your arms like a frustrated child and give her the rebuff. Rather, I mean that you should literally act as though she hadn't said it at all. This is called frame reaffirmation, and it's the most effective and efficient way to deal with her mood swings. There seems to be a recurrent and compelling sentiment here that the sexual marketplace is a game, but I think this is usually only the case when men fail to figure out how to calibrate male-female interaction patterns to satisfy the self-interested nature of the male and, by extension, the alpha-pleasing instincts of the feminine.